Here's your wrestling news for November 13th, 2021. And your headlines for today include why WWE told superstars they were less valuable before last week's cuts, he's welcome to address WWE, company responds to shocking claims by Keith Lee, new authority figure teased on latest Smackdown, former superstar claims WWE only gave him 30 days to see family during 8-year tenure, why Brock Lesnar really is returning to WWE next month, Charlotte Flair responds to reports that Becky Lynch is a locker room hero, WWE commentator admits he wants to wrestle again, and more. We're starting today with WWE, who released 18 superstars last week, once again explained as due to budget cuts. These never-ending cuts were the reason WWE gave the superstars themselves, but it's been reported that several names were unvaccinated, which factored in WWE's decision to release them. According to this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, nobody was told they could lose their job by being unvaccinated, but this was hinted at by WWE management. One top superstar who wasn't vaccinated was told that unvaccinated wrestlers are less valuable to the company, as part of the company's way to encourage staff to get the jab. Of course, being unvaccinated means superstars are unable to appear in or even enter a lot of venues across the US, and international tours would be impossible if a wrestler is unvaccinated. WWE, like many other touring companies, are walking the fine line between safety and profit, and they can't risk having unvaccinated superstars traveling the world. These regulations will be the same for the released wrestlers wherever they work, as AEW often shares both cities and arenas with WWE, and now wrestlers must make the choice of whether they want to risk not only testing positive, but also their careers. Keith Lee was one of the more surprising releases last week, but the former NXT champion has been a thorn in WWE's side ever since he was let go. In a public statement, Lee claimed he had to pay for all of his own medical bills while he was out of action earlier this year, which was because he tested positive and then had heart inflammation. Now WWE is calling out Lee's claims, as in an official response to PW Insider, WWE denied the Limitless One's claims, saying, Keith Lee's recent comments implying WWE failed to pay his medical bills are erroneous. WWE has an extensive healthcare program for the medical care of its in-ring performers, and Mr. Lee was part of this program while with the company. Should Mr. Lee have any concerns over the payment of medical bills, he is welcome to address them with WWE. We'll have to see where this story goes, as neither side is backing down from their claims, and this follows on from claims that Lee had attitude problems backstage, but was kept around for his size and ability. Whatever the truth is, Lee's claim is making a return to WWE less likely, but according to the former NXT champion, he wouldn't want to go back to WWE. It's not just on-screen talent that WWE has been releasing though, as the company has also released a ton of names from behind the scenes. Several tenured members of WWE have been fired as part of the company's corporate restructuring, and while Stephanie McMahon unsurprisingly remains in WWE, she's now without a team. In The Observer, it's reported that most of Stephanie's staff in the branding department have been let go, including Laura Petrocelli, who was both well-respected within the company and is the wife of senior writer Ed Koski. The belief is that with so many cuts to branding, that Stephanie's department will merge with the marketing department in the near future. WWE has cut a ton of names both on screen and from their offices, and while Stephanie is still a key decider in the company, her role in WWE has gotten far more isolated. Over to Smackdown now, as the show opened with Sonya Deville in the ring alongside 4 of the 5 superstars on SmackDown's Women's Survivor Series team. As is the trope of Survivor Series teams, there was a discussion of whether the team could coexist, and this culminated in a 6-person tag team match pitting Sasha Banks, Aaliyah, and Naomi, the latter of whom isn't on the team, against Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, and Natalya. In an impressive debut, it was Aaliyah who got the win, pitting Natalya, but her joy was short-lived. Backstage, Deville's tyrannical reign continued as she questioned Natalya on how long she's known Naomi and removed Aaliyah from Team SmackDown on the advice of an unknown person. It's interesting that WWE are teasing someone higher up than Deville, and we doubt it's Adam Pearce, as the pair have been shown to be equals on WWE TV. Perhaps the mysterious behind-the-scenes powerhouse is Vince McMahon himself, or a new character yet to appear on company programming. Whoever it is, this story is definitely leading to a Naomi Deville match where Sonya loses her power, but until then, the former MMA fighter's tyrannical reign continues. In June, Buddy Matthews was released from his WWE contract, bringing his 8-year tenure with the company to an end. A former NXT and Raw Tag Team Champion, the Australian wrestler is also a former Cruiserweight Champion, having won the title in his homeland. Speaking to Forbes this week, the former WWE superstar discussed his 8 years working for the company and how little time he had for his family and friends. "I haven't been to Australia in 3 years because I couldn't get time off. It shouldn't be that way. It's not like I'm against it, I wanted to work, but it should also be a thing where I can go home to visit my family. I've probably been home in the last 8 years for 30 days. It's obviously more difficult for Matthews to visit his family, but hopefully he'll get a chance to see them more from now on, both now that the world is getting back to normal and now that he's away from WWE. Yesterday, we reported on Brock Lesnar, who has promised to buy a front row seat for the December 10th edition of Smackdown. This was revealed by the Staples Center Twitter account, and given that the Beast is suspended from WWE, buying a ticket seems his only option to make it. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was reported that this LA Smackdown will be extra special, as there'll be a lot of Fox executives in attendance who WWE want to impress. Having Lesnar on SmackDown will certainly draw interest in the show, which is something WWE desperately needs amid reports of Fox getting increasingly frustrated with disappointing viewing figures. With the Lesnar-Reigns match expected for WrestleMania, Brock's return could have been a huge surprise at 2022's Royal Rumble, but the WWE's efforts to keep one of their TV partners happy has forced the company's hand. Later this month, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch will face SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair in a match that's more than personal. The two, who were once real-life best friends, have been at odds ever since Flair went off script during the October 22nd title exchange, throwing the title on the ground in an effort to make Lynch look bad. After a backstage altercation between the two, Lynch has been seen as a hero to the women's roster and recently referred to herself as a hero in a recent interview with Sports Illustrated. Now, Flair has seemingly responded to that comment, as in a tweet, said that everyone wants to be the hero of their own story. That wasn't all Charlotte has had to say, as during SmackDown, she called the man plastic, a line Lynch clearly heard. Firing back in a tweet, Becky said she got a kick out of that line, especially considering who was saying it. Charlotte has been very open with fans about her breast augmentation surgery, and Lynch didn't appreciate being called plastic by the reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Survivor Series will mark the first singles match between the two in over 2 years, and we're interested to see who will stand tall and be the hero of their story later this month. More from SmackDown as the show's focus is on Survivor Series, but they had time for a huge main roster call-up last night. When Sami Zayn spoke to Adam Pearce, the pair weren't alone, as NXT 2.0's Von Wagner made his SmackDown debut looking very intense. Pat McAfee said how Wagner looked 10 feet tall, but didn't refer to the NXT 2.0 superstar by name, as he may get a name change when he's an official main roster member. Von Wagner was last seen in NXT 2.0 associating with Kyle O'Reilly, but with the latter's contract set to expire next month and no word on whether he's re-signed or not, Von Wagner may be back to being a single star soon, albeit on the main roster. Hopefully, Von Wagner's call-up will go better than Toni Storm, who's barely been featured on SmackDown since her arrival. Yesterday, a report came out saying that Storm had been forgotten about, but that isn't the case. When Ringside News asked their sources in WWE, they explained that Storm's absence from TV is because she's not an integral part of Survivor Series and that this isn't her month. The source added that she hasn't been forgotten about by any means, but any plans for her won't happen until after Survivor Series. This is typical WWE booking, but it's still frustrating to see Storm go ignored for weeks at a time, and we can only hope things improve for her after this month's pay-per-view. On Raw this week, commentator Corey Graves briefly became 24/7 champion, his first title in WWE in over 8 years. A former NXT Tag Team Champion, Graves was forced to retire in 2014 because of a series of concussions, but may be scouting a return to the ring. On Twitter, Graves spoke about his brief 24/7 title reign, saying he won and lost a title without ever getting in the ring, and in a follow-up said, "I kinda want to wrestle again." There's no word on if Graves can get medically cleared by WWE, who take concussions very seriously, but after Bryan Danielson and Edge were told they'd never wrestle again, there's still hope for the Raw commentator. Now, Rob Van Dam is one of the most decorated wrestlers around, and Mr. Pay-Per-View is once again a married man. This week, the WWE Hall of Famer married the self-proclaimed Queen of Twerk, Katie Forbes, in a Las Vegas ceremony that was attended by Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Mr. and Mrs. Van Dam were an on-screen pair during RVD's return to Impact from 2019 to 2020, and Katie is an accomplished wrestler in her own right. This wedding coincides with RVD's new documentary Headstrong, which will premiere at 8 p.m. today on Reels and tell the story of the painful long-term effects his wrestling career has had, but Van Dam appears to be doing just fine for now with his bride. We are ending today by dedicating this video to Mark Noyce, a former writer for Slat Rock Wrestler who has sadly passed away. Mark wrote for the channel for a year and will be sorely missed. We extend our deepest condolences to Mark's family at this awful time. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.